Yes. What you mean? Ay, ay, ay.
Ay, caramba.
Good morning. Welcome to another vlog. It is January 6th, Monday. The kids are back at school. Mike is back at work. The tree has come down. I didn't film it because it always makes me a little bit sad watching other people do it, but also taking mine down. Now that it's down, I do feel it feels nice to have like more space in the living room and stuff, but it always makes me a little sad when it all ends. So the house is a complete disaster. The kids were cooking treat boxes for their friends yesterday, pretty much all afternoon and evening. So my kitchen is an absolute write-off, but I am going to go downstairs. I'm going to make my, well, I call it pre-workout because before we decided to give up caffeine, I was having a coffee in the morning and then I would have my pre-workout drink, more because it was a habit. So it's like this habit of making this fun sort of fizzy drink, and then that would cue me to go and do my workout. So it was almost like habit stacking. So instead of doing the pre-workout, I ran out and I wanted something that would kind of like give me that habit of making that fizzy drink. And yeah, I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but it feels like it's been this habit stack that I've had for like 6 years, and it keeps me in this like rhythm. I don't know, it's hard to explain. So I got these electrolytes with collagen in it, and I don't feel like I really need electrolytes, but the collagen, I'm really trying to increase my protein intake, and so any little bit helps. I still don't reach my goal, even with like eggs and turkey bacon for breakfast, having like high protein yogurts, high protein milk. I also add this to it. This adds, I think between these two, I think it's about 15 grams of protein, so it's not bad. So for 15 grams of protein just to have as like a little pre-workout drink. So that's what I've been doing for that. So I'm still down to one coffee. Sometimes I will in the afternoon have a decaf coffee, but I must say, I didn't really think that caffeine was affecting me that much, but I must say that since I've gone down to just having one coffee in the morning, my sleep has been 1,000 times better. It was taking me so long to get to sleep. I was so restless. I had restless legs. Like I feel like I had restless leg syndrome. Like I could not go to sleep. And then Mike would snore, which would make me stay awake even longer. And it was just even harder. Now my head hits the pillow and I'm pretty much out. Like it's just, so that's been a huge win. So I'm going to stick to one coffee a day. I think that's okay for me. Mike is still, he's down to, so what he's doing to now get off, he went down to one coffee and now he's down to just having like a Coke Zero. It has just enough caffeine to kind of keep the headaches and everything away. So he's kind of dwindling down. So this week he's going to switch to just having one Coke Zero per day at lunch. And then next week probably go down to nothing. This is what I'm doing. I have it with my bubbly and a little bit of water. So I pour a little bit of water out. This smells amazing. It's peach strawberry and it smells really good. So I put 2 scoops of that. It fizzes up. So this afternoon, I'm going to get my workout done and I'm going to do lift 4, I believe. I was going to do dig deeper, but I think I'm going to do lift 4. Actually, it's lift more. So it's lift 4, but the next one, so it's 5 days a week. So it's less days that I have to like make up an extra workout, because on the days that are supposed to be rest days for my program, I'm probably going to do double walks. So that's one less day that I have to do like a double walk. Clementine, can you go let your birds out or something? They're ridiculous. So I'm going to do my workout. Then I'm going to reclaim the kitchen and tidy all the things in the house, because it's a lot. Everybody just getting back into their routine. And then this afternoon, I think I'm going to actually sit down and make a decaf and have a little chat. Well, I'm going to answer the questions from Vlogmas when you guys all ask me a question. So I'm going to actually answer those questions, sit down and answer them this afternoon finally. I was waiting until like I had a really bad cough and hack and wheeze and all of that. So I was kind of waiting a little bit to film that. So that's why it's taken me so long. And we'll talk about some plans. You guys kind of talked me into, I think, what I'm going to do. So if you've been here and you've been watching for a little while now, but I also know that there are a lot of new faces here. So we're doing a low buy quarter to pay off credit card debt. So the first 6 months of the year, I think, are going to be heavily, aggressively paying off that credit card. But even Mike agrees with me. He actually came up with the idea of having instead of doing a no thrifting, no buy, he said, let's do a low buy and let's have a small budget for thrifting. And a few of you also mentioned that maybe you should have just a small budget for it. And I've actually thought, I think that will actually be really fun, because so I'm going to give myself like maybe $30 or $40 a month. I'm not really sure, and see how far I can stretch it. And then if I don't use it that month, then I can roll it into the next month. And maybe I find something. Oh my God, there's turkeys running down the road. There's like a whole herd of turkeys that just ran past the window. You missed it. They all ran down the middle of the road. They were just hightailing it. What was I saying? Yes. So I think I'm going to give myself a small budget each month and see how far I can make it go. So I think it'll be like this little challenge. Like every time I go thrifting, I can kind of take you along with me and then share what I bought and how much I've spent and how much I have left. So I think that'll be kind of a fun little project or segment of all of this, because I don't want 75 hard to just become my entire personality. It is an important and big challenge right now. It's important to me that I do it, and it's going to be at the forefront of my mind, but I don't want it to be just the focus of everything that I film and talk about. So really, when you look at it, I think it's just a business expense for me to do this for you, really. So yeah, I think I'm into that. So Mike's planning on working from home on Fridays. He gets to work from home actually 2 days a week. So he's at the very least going to do Fridays. So those are going to kind of be my thrift days. I also need to pick up Silas a winter coat. I thought his coats were warm enough, but I think with walking to and from school, which is like 5 kilometers a day, in this really cold temperature, he needs a more substantial coat. So I think I need to thrift him like a parka. And because today I gave him my coat that I don't wear, because I have a beautiful long coat that I invested in. Like, this is my 3rd winter with it. I absolutely love it. It goes down to like almost my ankles. I think you probably saw it you saw it when we were walking. But it is the dreamiest coat ever. It wasn't that expensive. It was like $120, but dreamy coat. So I lent him it's like a black down-filled coat that comes down to like maybe not quite your knees. And I thought it would be fine, like unisex kind of looking, but it looks it comes in at the waist. So he was singing Shakira, Hips Don't Lie this morning. It was pretty funny. Anyway, I need to definitely get him another coat, but I think I can probably find one at the thrift store. But I don't think that's going to come out of my budget, because that falls into a need or something that has worn out or that we need for the kids. So I don't think that's going to come out of my thrifting budget. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think that'll be fun. I'm going to get this done, going to get this into me, and then go and do a workout, reclaim the house, and then sit down for like a cozy afternoon chat where I answer your questions. So we will see you in a bit. Oh wow, it's really bright in here. So I'm trying to figure out some uses for these little guys, and I think I thought of one. I have like 48 of these, so I need to figure out uses because I cannot throw them away. They're too cute. So I think I currently have like little jars, like I'll divide up like Advil and Tylenol to carry, and like keep one in the car, keep one in my purse, give one to the kids to keep in their locker. So that's been good. But I think I'm gonna take some Vaseline and fill a couple of these just to have kind of in the bathrooms. What are you doing, Posy? So I'm going to fill a couple of these with Vaseline. So I think I'm going to take a couple of these and take out like the remainder of this because it's an ugly little thing. And that'll take care of a couple of them at least. Just reheating some chili from last night. My chili is like super basic but super healthy. Just got ground turkey, a can of lentils, a can of kidney beans, mushrooms, peppers, onions, garlic, cumin, chili powder, garlic powder. It's just super healthy, full of protein. Okay, let's test the new microphone, shall we? So I feel like a bit of a tool carrying this, but I think it's time. I have to fiddle around so much with the sound when I'm editing my videos, so hopefully this will solve that problem. So I'm just doing a little test. So months ago now, probably in the summer, maybe even the spring, I purchased these little guys. It comes with two and it plugs into my phone. I think it was $25. So hopefully this works. Okay, it appears to work. Hopefully it stays working and that it doesn't cut out halfway through this. There is a little clip that I could clip here, but it doesn't stay on very well. So I hope this is decent sound, but I wanted to sit down and go through the questions that you guys asked in Vlogmas weeks ago now. I just had chili, leftover chili for lunch. It's such an excellent meal. It goes a long way. So last night it fed all 5 of us. We had a big supper. And then Mike took it for lunch today. Poppy took it for lunch. And then Clementine each had a bowl. And I each had a bowl for lunch. So Silas is the only one that didn't take it. He took some of his Christmas money he wants to spend on his lunch today because he spent so much time baking yesterday. He felt he deserved to have a little lunch out with his Christmas money. So, but yeah, it's like such a healthy meal too. It's full of protein. To make meat go further, I only use 1 pound of like ground meat, and then I will add lentils and kidney beans to it. But if we're having tacos, I'll just add like, I'll cut up a whole thing of mushrooms. I'll chop it up in my little, I don't know what you call it. It's like a pulley. I'm going to do like a whole thing on all the favorite little kitchen gadgets that I've purchased recently over the last year, which seems weird for a no buy challenge that I'm going to tell you to buy things. But
these are things that I really love using, and they have made my life in the kitchen just so much easier. So I think I want to do like a little video on that. And people were asking in the comments, I guess you guys saw my cookbooks in the background while I was doing the grocery haul, and you want to know more. You want to see what cookbooks I have and which I love and all of that stuff. I feel like a little kitchen, what would I call it? Like a kitchen, not a kitchen tour, but like a little kitchen themed vlog is in order. Let me get to the questions. I wrote them all down. I went through and wrote them all down. So, when did you start knitting, and what was your first craft, or was it your first craft? I started knitting just after my daughter was born. I don't know if you guys remember like the days of vlogs, but I used to love following Soul Mama, and she was a big inspiration for me back in the day. So she was a knitter, and I wanted so badly to be that homeschooling knitting mama. And it never came naturally to me. Never. It has always been such a challenge for me. But I did manage to knit a little sweater vest. I forget what the pattern was, and I think it was all the rage at that time. So, like 2009, 2000, maybe 2010, somewhere in around there. When that was when I started first really started to try knitting. I ended up doing fairly well, and I made the whole sweater vest, and it fit her, and each kid actually wore it and loved it for a period of time when they were toddlers. And I still have it somewhere. I'm not sure. I've tucked it away. I'm not getting rid of it, but I've tucked it away. And that was the only garment that I ever made. And I haven't really made anything beyond a scarf since then. So I'm more of a crocheter, to be honest. I have my scarf that I have yet to find time to sit down and actually work on it. I have so many hobbies that I want to do. I want to spend more time reading. I'm really loving vlogging. I love baking. I love working out. And then I also have to, make meals for the whole family and clean the whole house and do all of those things too. So, and editing takes a lot of time, and answering questions and emails and comments and all of that. So I'm in a bit of a reading slump, and I am in a bit of a crochet slump, but I'm hoping that as things even out, find my rhythm, that I will try again with knitting, and I will continue my crochet. For whatever reason, it feels like you're either a crochet person or a knitting person. And it's not that you can't venture outside of that, but it feels like one or the other makes sense to you and comes naturally, more naturally, and the other one does not. I don't know. That's just me, but that's how I find it. Okay, what is the biggest, furthest family vacation you've all been on? As a single income house, we have not taken many trips. Even before we had kids, we didn't take a lot of trips. I was in school, and then the debt that we incurred, or that I incurred, or that we incurred, whatever, as a couple, we just never really took a lot of trips. We have never been, I don't think we've ever been outside of Canada. I have been outside of Canada because I have family in Texas. So with my stepmom's family, we would drive down, and I've been to Texas and Florida and things like that. But we've never been to even BC. We've never been past Ontario. So the furthest we've been as a family is to Newfoundland. My husband is from Newfoundland. And actually, that's another one of the questions. Someone thought that he had a Scottish accent, which I find funny because I don't hear an accent on him at all. But he does, he's from Newfoundland, and all of his family is still in Newfoundland. And so we've gone only twice in our, has it been twice? And then another time we went to PEI. Our PEI was the last real family trip that we were on, and it was not cheap. And we rented an Airbnb, and we ended up getting, we were there at the exact time that it was Hurricane Dorian went through, and it was pretty devastating. Like, and our power was out for like the last 3 days, 3 or 4 days at our Airbnb. It was not super fun. So we haven't taken a lot of trips. We try to do little camping trips here and there. We go to a family cottage that is a beautiful kind of getaway. But yeah, we don't do a lot of trips because it's a huge expense. And we have animals that we need to put in a kennel. And then to put them in a kennel, you need certain shots that they don't necessarily always have, like kennel cough and stuff like that. We don't really have. So that adds to the cost because we have to then take them to the vet and get all these extra shots to get them into the kennel. So that's like $400 or $600. And then the kennels are not cheap, especially if you have 3 dogs. It really adds up fast. And then a hotel because we can't stay with anyone because we're a family of 5. So yeah, we don't do a lot of traveling because it's a big expense for us and a big hassle. It's not that we don't want to travel, it's just that it just isn't in our budget most of the time. Do we, and then the next question, it kind of goes into this one. Do you like to travel, and a favorite place? My favorite place to travel is actually PEI that we've been so far. I would love to one day go to Europe or something. Maybe it will happen one day, hopefully. It's like just one of those things. I just really don't know if it'll happen for us. I really do hope that it will though. Favorite brand of tea and flavor? It would have to be like I'm an Earl Grey girl. Just a classic Earl Grey. But I do really love Yorkshire tea. There's a biscuit one and then the toast and jam one. Those are probably my 2 favorites outside of Earl Grey. They are so tasty. I shared them, I think, in Vlogmas, but they are so tasty. What does your husband do for work? So he is the director of IT for the area that we live in. I don't really know what else to say about that. Clementine's age and favorite thing at school. Clementine is 11. She turned 11 in September. So she is in grade 6, but we homeschool, obviously. And her favorite subject, she's doing her homeschooling right now, actually. Her favorite subject? Clementine, what's your favorite subject in school?
Biology, sir.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
Why?
That was one of the
You're
questions.
using your mic.
I am. I don't know if it's any good, but
You're like up there.
no,
You're like,
it feels weird. Okay, so you've heard it here. She's not really camera ready. She's got grimy clothes on. So her favorite subject is science or biology, which is actually one of my favorite subjects in school. I did really well in biology and science and really loved it. And it's funny because my grandfather was a high school biology teacher. Fun fact. And I was actually a really mediocre student. Like I was not great because I was a little stubborn and I had some like authority issues. Like I was not a bad kid, but I didn't like to be, I still don't like to be told what to do. Something happened when I got into biology. My teacher was amazing and it all just clicked and I got like almost 100% in that class. And usually I was like getting 60s, like 60s mostly. So yeah, it just clicked for me. And then I went into dental assisting, graduated at the top of my class. And then I went into dental hygiene, loved it, hated the job. The schooling was pretty intense and it just kind of ruined me. But I still really, really, really love biology and science. I don't think I'll ever work in that field again, but I do find it fascinating how the body works. Not that this question was about me, it was about Clementine, but I just found it interesting that she also likes. Favorite thing to bake? I think if I have the time and the space, I really love making pies. I shared a video where we went blackberry picking and I made a pie in it. I think a pie is the most satisfying, beautiful thing to make, and it takes so much time and effort and steps, but when it all comes together, it's just so beautiful and I love it. If it's not that, it would probably be like cinnamon buns. I love just the perfection of like the spiral and the cinnamon and it's just how they come together. Those are probably 2 of my favorite, most satisfying things to make, but not things that I make very often because they are a little more high effort. How did you meet your husband? So Mike and I met online in 2003. So we actually met on Lava Life, which now I think is like, I don't even know if it still exists, but the last thing I heard, I thought it was for like hooking up and stuff. Like it was not what it was when we first met on it. So I had broken up with my boyfriend of 5 years, my high school sweetheart, 2 weeks later, the day after what would have been our 5-year anniversary, I met Mike. And all of his friends thought that it was just a rebound and that, it wouldn't last. And we lived like 2 hours apart. And 21, going on 22 years later, here we are. The rest is history. We moved in really quickly together. We met in August of 2003. And by the spring of 2004, we were living together. I had moved to the city, all of that. And yeah, the rest is history. We got married in 2000. I always forget when we get married. We got married in 2007, I believe. I don't know if that's right, actually. Is it right? How many dogs and what are their names? So we have 3 dogs. I think you've seen them all now through Vlogmas. I shared clips of each one. So we have Posy behind me here. So we got her at December 2020. So she was technically a pandemic dog. She's afraid of everything. She's a beagle crossed with a chihuahua. And she's not very smart. And she's afraid of everything. But she's a really good snuggler. And then we have Banjo, who I, to this day, regret that we didn't call him Sprocket because he looks like Sprocket from the Fraggles. But he is a doodle. We don't know what he's crossed with. He was a free dog. My friend picked him up because it was kind of a dark situation. I guess the guy had to sign up for free puppies. And she stopped in and he said he was going to shoot them if he didn't get rid of them. So she took one and then decided that she really wasn't ready for a dog or a puppy. And when I heard about the free puppies, I was like, oh, I think I would like one. Doodle, that would be great. She said, I don't think I'm ready for a dog, so will you take him? And so I drove over immediately and picked him up. God, time is speeding fast. Is he going on 7 then this year? And then we have Chuckles. His original name was Huckleberry, but he has slowly over the years morphed into Chuckles or Chuckleberry. And he is getting old. His hips are really bad. He can no longer go on walks. He can barely get up, but he still can move around. I think he'll be 13 this year. So he's a livestock guardian dog, which means, so we got him when we lived in the country and we had chickens and goats and all of the things. And we lived in the woods basically, and we had little kids. So we needed something that was going to make us feel safe. And he was an incredible dog in that sense. But he's very independent. He does not like to listen. He's very stubborn. He's very independent. He doesn't really work for your approval. He's like, well, I'm going to do what I got to do. You do what you got to do. So he would often run away. He had like a territory and he would run away, but we lived on a road. So he was a lot, but now he just lies on the deck and sleeps and watches the world go by. But when my son was a toddler, we had a rooster who all of a sudden just decided he didn't like Silas and would attack. Two times the rooster went at our toddler, and he and Huck, Chuckles, got there before I could and gently pulled the rooster off without hurting the rooster, grabbed him by the tail feathers and just plucked him off of our son so that I could pick him up. And he did that twice. After that, we ended up rehoming the rooster. A guy needed a rooster, and so we just gave him away for free. So after seeing that, I realized what kind of dog he is. Like he snaps. He's like a piranha. He'll take food from he can't take it gently, but he would take one Cheerio at a time from Clementine. She would feed him one Cheerio at a time, and he would take it so gently from her. Like he's so intelligent and such a gentle giant. I love him. He's a very special dog, but he sheds like it's a full-time job, and he's having a really hard time getting around, and I don't know at what point we make that decision. I really don't want to make that decision, but it feels like we're getting close to the time where we might have to make that decision for him, because I don't know what his quality of life is anymore, that he can't go for walks and that he can't move around too easily. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. My aspirations and hopes for the new year. I already kind of went over all my aspirations and hopes for the new year, resolutions and goals. As far as the channel goes, I have said it before. I keep saying it out loud until it sounds just not crazy, that I would like to hit 10,000 subscribers this year and maybe get a brand deal. But someone else also asked me in a comment, it wasn't on this, but I may as well answer it here, that asked what my word of the year is going to be. And for me, that's going to be consistency, because everything in my life could be fixed or greatly improved by just a little bit of consistency. Consistently vlogging, consistently not spending money, consistently eating well, consistently working out. Like, so many things come back to consistency, and I really need that in my life to recapture that balance that I think we've fallen out of lately. My favorite book of all time has to be Anne of Green Gables, or anything really. Well, maybe not anything by her. I have read the Emily series. I've read The Blue Castle, which I really like. And her writing to me just feels like going home. When I pick up a book by her, it just, everything in me just relaxes. And I just love Anne of Green Gables, that whole series. Aside from the first one, I really loved, I think it's Anne's House of Dreams. So I think that's number 5 in the series. And then I skipped, I think Anne of Ingleside and Rainbow Valley were very kid-centered, and like it was her kids. And then in Rainbow Valley, it was her kids and like the Reverend's kids or something, and I was just not into it. And then I did read Rilla, I think it's Rilla of Ingleside. And that was really interesting because it was set during World War One, and it's her daughter who is about, I think she's about 14 or 15 at the time that the World War breaks out. And it's really interesting because it's like, I don't feel like we get a lot of Canadian perspectives of how life was during the war. So I really like that book. But anything by Anna Green or anything by Ellen Montgomery is my favorite. And I think that's why I like going to PEI too, because it's so Anne centric. There's just something about Anne, and I know I'm not alone, because I think a lot of people love her, but it's just my favorite. Favorite ice cream? Probably pralines and cream. Do you feel more pressure with such a big jump in subscribers? And do you plan on continuing vlogging and growing? Yes and yes. I definitely do feel more pressure as the subscriptions grow. I think it's going at a nice pace that I can still figure out my niche, but I definitely feel more pressure. Now that I'm monetized too, I feel like, well, I really have to make this worthwhile. I need this to be something, but I also need to remember that just showing up sometimes is what's necessary. So yes, I do feel a lot of pressure, but for the first time in a very long time, I feel like pushing through that discomfort and seeing where it takes me. I sometimes have a tendency to self-sabotage. That's why that book, I don't know why I've said it now, but The Mountain Is You, I'm really enjoying that. I'm rereading it, but I'm still getting stuff from it, realizing that I do self-sabotage sometimes when it gets uncomfortable or scary. And it is a little uncomfortable and scary, I'm not gonna lie. Now that we're growing, we're almost 2,000 new subscribers in the last just over a month. That's bananas. Yes, I'm uncomfortable. Yes, I'm gonna keep going. Yes, I'm gonna keep growing. My favorite crafts. I don't know, is baking considered a craft? But I really like baking. I have really liked sewing in the past. I have a lot of time, but I have a lot of hobbies that I'd like to explore. Photography probably is the craft that has stuck with me my whole life. I've always wanted to be a photographer, or, have that interest. Not want to be a photographer, but I've sold my pictures, shared my pictures. I've always been someone that takes pictures. So now the vlogging kind of has morphed into photography, but also like filmmaking, I guess you call it. What do you call? I don't know what you would call it actually, but I feel like photography is the one true craft that I have stuck to, or it has stuck with me my whole life, and I think will continue to. I am a crafty person, and I like doing different crafts and trying different things for sure. Like I'm always game for craft, but photography and vlogging and video making definitely seems like the one that's going to stick with me. A home tour, that's not really a question, is it? I think I would like to do a home tour. Our house is very average, very normal. It's a brick bungalow built in the 1980s. It was actually built, I think, the year I was born. So it's very, very average, and I'm here for it. Yeah, I could see myself sharing more of it over time. I shared quite a bit probably in summer. I was making some vlogs because I got it in my head that I was going to decorate all the things. I painted our kitchen green, I put up some fun wallpaper, I painted our bathroom, I painted our bedroom. So I shared quite a bit of our upstairs. Our downstairs is a bit of a mess. We are in the process of replacing the flooring down there. Our kids, that's kind of the rec room and where the 2 bedrooms are for the kids. So it's kind of more kids central and where we work out, and it's not super cozy right now. It could be when I make it cozy and go down and clean, it's cozy, but then the kids just kind of, you know, kids. So I feel like this video is going to be a really long, chatty one. But who is in our family? I feel like this, I cleared this up after like at the end of Vlogmas as my other kids came into the videos. But it's myself, Erin, my husband Mike, my oldest daughter she will be turning 16 next month, and her name is Poppy, and my son Silas, who is 14, and Clementine, who you all know from Vlogmas, is 11. That is our family. So my favorite Canadian YouTubers. I honestly can only think of 2 Canadian ones. I feel like there's a little bit of a gap in the Canadian content creators. I'm not sure. Or maybe I just haven't found them. But my 2 favorites, so there's Carter Sullivan, who I mentioned before. I really enjoy her vlogs, even though we're very different in a lot of ways. We're alike in a lot of ways, but she's in Ottawa area. And another one that I found, it was probably about exactly a year ago, because I remember I was watching her channel while I took the Christmas tree down last year, and her name is Ariel Bissett, and she lives in Nova Scotia, and she is renovating an old farmhouse, like an 1800s farmhouse, and it is incredible. She is doing it in such a quirky, fun, colorful way. She is just living the dream. And then she recently bought, I think in the spring summer, she bought this. It's like a mini truck, and she converted it into a traveling bookshop, and she goes around to like little pop-ups or markets and does like a pop-up bookshop book sale thing. She's probably one of my favorites, but I feel like she hasn't been making as much content lately. I absolutely binged her when I first found her. So good. But yeah, if you know of more Canadian content creators that you think I would enjoy, please share them, because I would love to find more Canadian ones. Not that there's anything wrong with not, American or the British ones. I love following British YouTubers. I don't know why, it's just so cozy to me. But yeah, if you have suggestions for other Canadian content creators or bloggers, that would be fantastic. I would love to hear that. Favorite thing about Christmas in Canada. So like I said, some of these are Christmas oriented, but my favorite thing about Christmas in Canada would probably be the weather. I cannot imagine not having like a white Christmas. I mean, we've had green Christmases, they're pretty rare, but it's happened and they make me sad. But yeah, definitely the weather, the climate, just the coziness. I just love Christmas with the snow, and I am a big fan of winter. But I think that's all the questions that I've had. So I think this is going to be a very long video because I chattered for a really long time. So if you're still here, if you're still watching, give me is there a microphone? A microphone emoji? Give me a microphone emoji and let me know who your like top 3 YouTubers are, who, or just your top one, but like give me your top YouTubers that you love watching, like that are comforting. We just found another one. Mike has actually switched on to getting more into YouTube, and he found a guy that restores wristwatches, which is, it sounds incredibly dull, but it's quite fascinating. And then we found this guy who's like, he's Matt Jacobs, I think his name is, and he is building a log cabin entirely by himself, entirely with like no power tools, just saws and like not even power drills. Like he's using old tools, and it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible to watch. So if you've watched this far, congratulations, you're like top tier. I stopped this a few times to make sure my mic is still working, and it's gonna be long. So if you're still here, top tier, give me a microphone and tell me your top fave comfort YouTubers. Extra points if they're Canadian. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on Friday. Bye, friends.